Hi, my name is Sandra Samuels, host of Boss Lady Live, where I come to you every Monday night with experts to discuss issues of crime and violence, love and relationships, health and wellness, various different topics that affect us right here in Jamaica. Please like and share and subscribe. Click on the notification bell to be advised when you're on. See you then.
Good evening. Welcome again to Boss Lady Live. It is my pleasure this evening to be with you once again. God has spared my life to be with you another Monday evening. I have one more show to go to the end of the season. And, I'm looking forward to my break. Not that I'm tired of you all, but I am looking forward to a break. I'm going on vacation. So, every evening that I bring this information to you, I learn so much. I need to check how many episodes I've done. I know it's over 60, way over 60 episodes that we have done so far. And if you want to see all the shows that we have done, you can go to www.youtube.com/The Totally Male, and you will see a plethora of shows that we have done, from relationships to sex to penis health to vaginal health. And today we are doing hair and scalp care. Now, for those of you who know me very well, you know that every month there's another style. Right now I'm in between, trying to decide what color next, or what I'm going to do. Am I going to do braids? Am I going to do blonde? Am I going to do red? Am I going to do blue, purple? Who knows? You know me, I like to change it up. I like to keep it moving. So this evening, it's my pleasure every time I have to speak to Raquel, because she's so knowledgeable on the subject. And Raquel, our affectionate name for her is Raquel. Her name is Althea Lawla. Let me introduce her before I even say welcome. Althea Lawla is a board certified trichologist and founder and CEO of the Salon Scalp Clinic Jamaica Limited, and Althea's Bootcamp ABC training and performance coaching. As a trichologist, Althea is trained in the diagnosis and treatment of hair and scalp disorders such as eczema, hair loss, hair breakage, oily scalp, etc. And we struggle with alopecia, with the braiding and all of that. So we're going to hear about all of that. Now, what she didn't mention in all of this is that she's a top of the line, super cutter. She's the line, super hairdresser, hairstylist, and the list can go on. She's a breast cancer survivor like myself, so she's actually like my sister in strength, right? And we have been friends for a very long time, and we tend to share knowledge and support each other, because really and truly, although we don't, we are in a similar field, we don't do the same things. I'm a barber extraordinaire. My main focus are males. She does men too, because I can't begin to do all the men in Kingston, right? And we have expats and all over. So we share. If I have somebody that I can't do, of course I send them down to Raquel or anywhere else for that matter. Yes, because I share, right? So welcome, Althea, Raquel, my girl, my sister friend.
Oh, Sandy, it's a pleasure to be here with you this evening to bring you all the information that your audience require. And it's my pleasure, my friend, to always sit beside you. It's always a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Whilst I was thinking about who I was going to have this week, because I haven't touched like diabetes and hypertension yet. I haven't touched sleep apnea, which I also suffer from. So I am looking to see if I can get someone to speak to on either of them for my last show for next week. And then Anne-Marie, one of my very faithful listeners, viewers,
Yes.
she's reached out to me and she said she wanted to hear about scalp care. I don't know if she's having issues, but I'm sure she's gonna join me tonight at some point. I'm not seeing her yet. And you can just hit me up, Anne-Marie, if you're there. Let me see if I can reach out to her to make sure that she does not miss it, because I know she'd cry if she didn't get an opportunity to join us tonight and to ask all the questions that she wants to ask. Let me see. All right, so here we are. Let me say, hey, Anne-Marie. Is she? There she is.
Oh.
She's not a doctor. You're not a doctor. She's not a doctor, Anne-Marie, but she's a specialist in scalp treatment. She'll tell us about it. So go ahead, Althea. Just tell us a little bit about your journey with hair, how long you have been doing, you're in the field of hair care, because people just think that hairdresser does do styling.
Yes.
No, hairdressers do hair care, or they're supposed to do hair care and have some knowledge of scalp diseases and scalp care as well. So go ahead.
So I started out many years ago as a stylist. So I am also an alumni. Dudley's University is my school. That's where I got all of my training as a cosmetologist and also heart here in Jamaica. But I came back as a master stylist where I only do cut and style then. And so I just said that was my niche back in 1994. That is what I came home with, and that is what I was doing.
So you're in business same amount of time as me?
Yes, Sandy.
I didn't even realize we started at the same time.
In 1995.
You started 95 or
when you
94?
Totally Male and Upper Montrose, that is where we met the very first time.
Oh, yes, that's true.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
That's a long time. Yes.
Oh, my.
Yes.
Oh.
Careful now, girl. Come on. We are so in our prime. We are just blossoming like great wine.
Right, exactly.
Yes. So I started out as a master stylist, and as my clientele grew, I decided I become curious because I know I'm seeing all these disorder of hair and scalp. I didn't know what to do, where to send them. And we will send them to the dermatologist, but we're okay, you need to go and cut off your hair, you stop relaxing, or no more chemical. And I become curious, and they had a conference at the Pegasus, I think it was at the time, and they were introducing trichology to the Caribbean. And I, decided, knowledge is me, anything that said education, I'm running it down. And I end up going to do the introduction to trichology. And that is where now I become more knowledgeable. And I said, I started out as a stylist. Now I wanted to learn more. So I went back to Dudley's and I started doing more advanced courses, knowing about the chemicals, why hair react this way when you put chemical on it. And so now we start doing the chemical process now, and we start having breakage issues, everything, customer burning, talking about everything else, but I didn't know what to do.
Right.
So the research started, and then I decided to start doing trichology, where I went to the Elan Center for Trichology in Alabama, and that's where the journey of hair care truly started for me, and I become more curious about the science of hair, the more in-depth, the research of hair, and so I also wrote a paper on alopecia areata. So I become more involved in hair care itself, and we have an association that for trichology, the few trichologists that in Jamaica, Or we have a few trichologists, certified board clinical trichologists in Jamaica.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
We're getting there. We're getting there.
Yes, yes.
So, all right. So tell us a little bit about what exactly is trichology.
Okay.
In a nutshell.
Is a trichologist or trichology, we study the science and the hair and scalp disorder. A trichologist now, who is the person who diagnose and help to treat any form of hair and scalp disorder, including all the different types of several different types of alopecia, because you have alopecia areata, alopecia totalis, and universal traction alopecia was one of the most common one, and then all
the
braiding, and all the other things, trichotillomania, all the different types of hair loss, and then you move into medication, then you move into illness that causes hair loss. Hormone also.
Okay.
All
right. So, okay. So what we wanted to know, we want to boil it down to ground zero.
Tell me.
And because persons are, well, you know, when we go to the hairdresser, the hairdresser tends to give us advice. Some people want to do what they want to do. They want to cream and then want to color this cream and color, bleach and color at the same time with permanent color. And so when the hairdresser say it can't be done because it's double processing or triple processing, you can't do this. And them say, no, someone wants it, I want it now. And then they do it, the hair break out, them have all kind of scalp irritation, and then you blame the hairdresser.
Okay.
So let us speak a little bit
about
hair before, yes, about what we're doing with our hair, not just hair, internally, how to realize the best head of hair then, for want of a better word.
Good hair.
In terms of healthcare, how can I give myself the best chance of having a healthy head of hair? And then how do I care for it? Then we can go further on down into the diseases, the various different diseases and the very different alopecia, types of alopecia that we get from braiding, wearing of wig constantly, stress, all the different, because you know, men get alopecia as well, and they don't braid. So it's all different. You said all different types of alopecia. So let us start from ground zero.
Okay, so let's start from hair itself. Mm-hmm. So we're going to start from scalp care. So you say you wanted a healthy head of hair. So first of all, we're going to start with a consultation. So we're going to look at the scalp first, but this is where the hair comes from. So your hair comes from so when the final hair pushes through your skin, that is your dermis. You have the dermis and the epidermis, which is the underlying skin. Okay, so you have about 100,000 hair follicles on your head. Okay, just like when you have a farm, if you don't have a good soil, you can't get a good fruit from or anything from that. So we're going to start with scalp care. So you're going to look on your scalp to see what kind of a buildup, what kind of you have dehydration, because that is where it started from. So when your scalp becomes dehydrated, what happened is that it's like the skin becomes tight around the hair follicle. So
and then the hair gets tiny.
Yes. So sometimes said, oh, my hair is itching me, or my hair is burning me, or my scalp is very, very tender. So you need to really examine the scalp sometimes, and even by just smelling what comes off the scalp can tell you what's going on. And question your clients, ask them about their overall care, because what you have to understand that your scalp is shedding your epidermal cells. And if you're not cleaning that skin, that epidermal cells that it produces, because some persons will have extra shedding of epidermal cells that looks and behave like eczema on the scalp. So it's good sometimes for your stylist to understand when to do a microdermabrasion on the scalp. Maybe they don't know the word, the overall microdermabrasion, but when to do a very regular.
I didn't even know you had microdermabrasion of the hair,
Yes.
and we have to have the skin because we do it in facials.
Yes, because remember now the skin is the whole. It is the biggest.
Whole, yes.
So it's governed the scalp too. So you can do the same. It's a little bit more gentler because it takes off the skin on your scalp is a little bit more finer than some areas. So you don't want to take off too many layers. But sometimes you have persons who shed their epidermal cells and it becomes very itchy or very oily, or some persons have it now look and feel like yeast because you do
okay.
have so it pushed up your balance and then and it looked like something else. So you can do a very easily cleansing in your salon, but you have to use those antifungal shampoo and put it directly onto the scalp and not do shampooing of the hair. So that's an easy way to prepare your scalp for it to breathe, because you have to remember now, although you have that 100,000 hair follicles, that 100,000 sebum that moisturize and help protect you from infection of the scalp and hair follicles now need to have air where to breathe.
Right.
So people call it, so we open up our pores then. But that circulation helps to protect the scalp. That is the scalp barrier now that helps to moisturize and keep infection away.
So that's why when you shampoo, the shampoo strips away all the natural oils. So that's why you have to use a conditioner and maybe follow up with a moisturizer as well.
Yes, but not all hair need a conditioner, because those who have oily scalp, by the time you start to massage that scalp, it just start to ooze that oil back out. So if you use a pH balance shampoo of around 6, that person with an oily scalp don't need to have their hair conditioned at all time. No.
Speaking about shampoo, how does one choose a shampoo for themselves?
Okay, shampoo have great benefits. Shampoo works off pH balance. You have to always remember that. A good pH balance for a regular shampoo is 6. Okay? For a medication,
tell you on the bottle?
Most professional line does.
Okay.
Most professional line shows their pH balance, and the pH balance regularly, because your scalp now works off of a pH balance. A good pH balance on your scalp is between 5 and 5.5. Okay, so when you use a pH balance shampoo of 6, most of the times your conditioner is 5. Because by the time you rinse the hair, the water, our pH balance in our water here, I think it's about 10. So by the time you rinse the hair, it brings back the pH balance near to where you are. And then by styling and massaging, you regularize your pH. Because what will happen outside, when persons have eczema on the scalp and it's moving to the east on the scalp, what happens is something either outside in the environment that can move your pH balance on your scalp, or something that you're eating to have to do with your eczema level. Some persons are allergic to dairy, and dairy will also move your pH balance and it moves into your eczema level.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Well, all right. So Anne-Marie's asked, she's in her mid-50s. My hair is natural. Every 3 months I dye, flat iron, wrap my hair or twist it at nighttime on the silk cap. The past month, she has noticed her hair shedding at every comb stroke. Do I visit a dermatologist? I think we said visit our doctor first.
Okay, Anne-Marie, let me ask you this question. Where you find most of your shedding from your hair? Sometimes what happens when we flat iron our hair and we color, we are sometimes, because we say we are natural. Once you color your hair, Sandy, you're no longer natural.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah, because me and the Grace them fighting, you know, we're not surrendering yet.
No, not
So
yet. Not
have to
yet.
work, have to work with the die. Have to work with it.
So
Have to work with it.
now,
You have to find some way for it to work.
you have to remember now, when you color your color go into the cortex of the hair.
Mhm.
So it softens it and it goes into the cortex, and that's where it's expanded and it go in and lock in. So what happened now when Anne Marie going with the flat iron, we force the disulfide bond back again with iron to stretch it.
Right.
So if she is not hydrating back the hair from the basin each time she flat iron her hair, she's gonna run into problem, because now the flat iron start working as a permanent straightener.
So,
Because
so when you say hydrated what? Oil?
hydration doesn't start from oil.
Oh,
So when
okay.
you look at your hair strands, so when a client comes in, we normally take strands of hair. And sometimes I will look at it underneath the microscope to see what ridges or line we have in the hair. Sometimes it can shows you what elements is missing from the hair, because the hair is made up of all these different types of elements. And so what we will do now is to try to repair back the disulfide bonds in the hair. So with the a disulfide bond repairer, that could easily go into her conditioner and put her on a hydration machine, not
Like a steam. Like it's like almost like a
you know how
steam.
you do the face. Now you have one for the head, and then
Okay, get you.
yes, and sometimes you see elements comes out in the bottle that catch underneath the steam. It shows you what's coming out of the hair.
Get
Okay,
you.
it's like when you do the different mineral analysis tests on the hair to see what is missing from the hair. Very detailed. It can tell you everything that goes on into the system. That's another test that we send overseas to get done, and they will tell you if there is level of toxicity in your body, if you're having different illness, because you know that lupus, grave disease, thyroid, medication shows up here, and I was doing a research on
And if you're not well overall,
you
your
know
nails and your hairs.
here in the first place, those things shows up, especially lupus and thyroid imbalance. It shows up in the hair. Sometimes you say, "Oh, my hair feels so straight," or it feels curly, and then you will see the discoloration of the scalp and all of that. But when you have a thyroid imbalance, it shows up with tension and dehydration really, really, really bad. I run into a problem where I had this client who came in for treatment, and I was just treating her thinking that, okay, this looked like androgenic alopecia, so I'm gonna do some rehydration to slow down the loss of hair. And so I started to rehydrate the hair with rehydration salt on the scalp, trying to relax the hair by, first of all, we try to manipulate the scalp first, because sometimes you can release the tension
Right.
scalp by manipulating the scalp itself, because there's a technique that you will use to just, it's like sometimes some person say, I pop my shoulder in and it feel relaxed. No, you can relax the scalp like that before. I had issues with my treatment when I was doing chemo, and I have to, every month, I have to do a relaxation of the scalp and rehydration of the salt, because now the skin becomes so thin on my head.
Okay.
So we use all those techniques, and that was where I got those relief from. But there are help and there are techniques that even the simple salon service that even your male, and I know that you do warm towel a lot when you,
Right.
great service. You don't know how much that's a big treatment.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big treatment. That's
Yeah, man.
yes, and
You
sometimes
can literally feel their shoulders drop.
oh, it's
Yeah.
just like this. And you
Yeah.
know, if we don't do a warm towel, ice cold towel on the head, it treat it like you have an
On the
injury,
neck back.
right? And you just release. Because when you see those footballer or athletes and they get injured, what they go for is a cold pack.
Ice bath.
You understand? So it releases the area. So you treat the scalp the same way. So those are scalp treatment. And let me go back to Anne-Marie. Anne-Marie now tell us this different length of our breakage. If there's any tension in the head, how she's telling me that she go every 6 weeks for her color. So now you have to do rehydration, Anne-Marie. Look at your conditioner that they're using and ask them to even to use the cold, the warm towel on top of a plastic cap when they put you to sit down. If they don't have a rehydration machine,
right,
they can do that, because sometimes when the scalp gets to that, we even use our infrared lamp. But there's many different types of way. It's not about protein and moisture. Because the hair now is 97% protein, and if I keep adding more protein to the hair, what happens? Become old, become keratinization, and we don't want that.
Yes. Good evening, Andrea. Good evening, Althea. Lamont, welcome. Good night. Okay, so Althea says she has gone to several hairdressers and none are able to tell her why her scalp is constantly itching. I know I used to have itching in the middle of my head.
And that is where you break from. That is where you break from.
Right.
So let's talk about patches of breakage, because sometimes you have, I call it hot spot or aging spot in the head. Okay, so when you itch, Althea, sometimes the pH balance, which is your hormone level, sends up your pH and then it open up and it itch. So obviously you're using something on the scalp that is not regulating the pH. So you have to look at that, and because sometimes people think that is only dandruff alone. Sometimes there's things on the scalp and you don't see with the naked eyes that causing you to flare up or to itch.
Well, Althea, I would say go and see Althea. She will give you her contacts at the end of the show. So I would recommend that you go and see her so that she can sort out your itching problem. Andrea Reed says, what's the best shampoo for processed and color treated hair? Well, shampoo or treatment for that matter.
Okay, so Andrea, there's this crave about natural hair and using natural product and natural. For me, it's simple having a professional line that goes straight across the board. So one of my big user in my salon, I use a lot of Care product. And the Care product shows a pH balance on the bottle. So that's a detangling moisturizing shampoo that I can use on both natural and your color treated hair. If you talk about high lift hair now, you would want to move into the Redken line, because now they have all these color fusion that protects your red, that protects your blonde. So you want, if you have high lift hair, then you want to use shampoo like the Redken line for color treated hair. But your everyday shampoo, if it's a rinse you put on to cover your grays, you can use the Care, Mizani, Design Essential, any one of those lines.
I agree. I use the Redken line for my, because as I said, Colin and I are friends. I started graying long time. And sometimes I even bleach when I do the blonde, and the Redken, especially a conditioner. It really, I use between up and the Redken. Both of those shampoos work for me.
Yes.
So Anne-Marie is saying, so wearing braids and weaves, which keep oil, sweat, and dirt for months. Hence the constant patting and beating the head. What antifungal shampoo would you recommend to clean the scalp?
Okay, so I have a method that we use. So get your applicator brush. If you have some people irritated by the chemical that makes the braids or the weave. So if you have itching from that, I will suggest you use maybe Design Essential antifungal shampoo or our line of shampoo, because we have an antifungal line of shampoo, and you put it directly onto the scalp. Do not go in and shampoo your hair. So you put it onto your scalp dry, and you leave it on for about 10-15 minutes. And if you're at home, you just stand underneath the shower like that and just rinse, because it's really the scalp you really need to get clean and fresh, because there's nothing you can do underneath the braids, because the braids are all tangled up in the hair. Just keep your scalp clean at all time so it can breathe.
Andrea says she used Cream of Nature. Should she switch?
That's a good line of
yeah, I think Cream of Nature is a good shampoo as well.
It's a good shampoo. It's a good shampoo line to use. And it's very
well, I know for me, and I certainly saw it in my mother, so I'm assuming it's hereditary. I see it in my mother's father's sister as well, and I see it in her daughter. The middle of my hair, as I age, it thins. Is that hereditary, or is that just a hair care situation?
No, it have nothing to do with it. And I saw that in your head many years ago when you were relaxing.
Yes, I still have it. I still have it. I mean, it's getting worse now because I'm now natural. Well, meaning so not creaming.
Not relaxing the hair anymore. And you know why?
Right.
So when you were breaking the disulfide bonds, so the hair become finer and refined and straighter. So now you stop using both chemicals, which you only now color only. So what happened? You are still losing the hair, but not because you're not processing it, so you don't see it so.
Right, it's not straight. So you don't see it so. Yeah,
so what is happening there? Because it starts from here and it's moving forward. So what is happening? It is called androgenic alopecia. Okay, some of us is from your genetic side of the family, or sometimes it is caused by certain medication. If you're hypertensive or you're on your blood pressure medication, will trigger your DHT, your dihydrotestosterone hormone that affect the top of your head, and it can happen to anyone. Sometimes it's genetic, and sometimes it is brought on by medication. Okay, so how do we solve that problem? It is gonna run its course, but you can slow the process down. Because
I hear people call it a hot spot. Is that what you call a hot spot?
No. Oh. Now this is called a disorder of the scalp. This is now androgenic alopecia. You really have male pattern baldness.
Okay.
So now, on the other hand, we call it, when the females have it now, we call it female pattern baldness.
So is the same thing like the man would lose the front of his head, lose his hair? Yes. It's just that we don't really lose all of it, it just thins out.
Yeah, it thins out a lot, and a lot of women will lose it and just have a little area right here alone. Yeah. But hot spot now is called when you have an area where it grows and it just break off right there, and it's become very tender, and it ages first. Mm-hmm. I had a client this morning, and she said to me, "Oh, I don't see my spot anymore." I said, "Yes, because when I used to relax your hair, because you have a hot spot as the first place, it shows you that no more relaxer. And once I do relax her hair, I have no problem in that hot spot. But once she's stressed, it just goes.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like,
Why does stress? Do you know why stress affects our hair that badly?
let me tell
Because
you.
when I'm stressed, it would pick out, like I remember being so stressed one time, the whole of the back of the hair pick out.
Let me
You
tell
know?
you. Your hair cells is one of the fastest growing cells in the body.
Okay.
And I'm going to give you a prime example. I don't know if you have lost your hair when you got your first chemo or the second chemo.
Yes, 30 days after.
Okay. So that hair cells was always doing this, busy, because it reproducing itself so often. So because the chemo or the drugs or the stress don't know what you be, because you're now a foreign invader, I'm going to get rid of you because you're confusing me. I can't get to do what I want to do and to affect all the different cells that I want to affect. So they get rid of the fastest developing cells in the body first. And that is one of the reasons why when you're stressed, the hair now stop shedding or just go into resting stage. So that is one of the reasons why stress affects the body, the skin and the hair and the nails so quickly, because that particular cell now differentiated for your hair, your skin, your nail, and a little portion of the brain.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the 4 different parts. That's one cells now differentiated and made. But that cell that make the hair, because your hair, you shed your hair so often, every day, at least 100 strands a day, you need to replenish them, and that's one of the reasons why it's one of the fastest growing cell. So anytime your body goes under stress, it just tell the hair, go climb up, because I'm getting rid of you first.
Okay.
So
with the new wave of natural, persons have to find stuff to do with their hair, especially if you plan to grow it. Some people choose to braid. Some people choose to either brush it. They put in the gel and they brush it and brush it and brush it and brush it. To put up in a bun, you use a lot of gels, a lot of various different products in it as well to keep it soft and moist, because the bumbo brush here, the bumbo brush, if it don't get no moisture, in a pure problem.
Especially when you wake up in the morning.
Especially when you wake up in the morning. So what some people do is twist it out at night. They have a lot of time. I don't have the time for that. They twist it out at night, or I put in gel and use the roll brush and roll it.
Okay.
How does that have any damaging effects on our natural hair? The whole heap of brushing and the whole heap of various different products. And then sometimes some people also want it straight. So I wouldn't call it new. I don't think it's new, but everybody now seems to be doing the silk press because they want to be natural when they're natural, and then they want to be straight when they want to be straight. And it really looks fantastic when it's straight and bouncy and nice.
Nice.
Does silk pressing damage your hair?
Over a period of time, yes, because now you're forcing the bonds in the hair to straighten with heat.
Right.
So if you don't, as I said to you, if you don't prepare the hair from the basin, silk press start from the basin with hydration.
Right. So if you're gonna do silk pressing, you have to take care of the hair.
You have to take care of the hair. Over a period of time, using gel on the hair, because most gel have an alcohol base in it, because that is what now heavy down the hair.
That's why it's dry and thirsty.
And it feels dry and thirsty after the day done.
Yep.
So my thing now that I use in my hair, if you remember when you used to use curly perm or jerry curler, that gel don't have no alcohol content in it. So you now can use that gel to form the curl pattern in your hair, because all of us, our hair can curl, but to what extent? You
But
find where
I used to see where like the jerry curls seem to have grown people here.
yes.
For some reason, I remember in particular one of my friends from high school. I know her all my life with short hair. And
Uh-huh.
when Charmaine Henry, she passed now, God rest her soul. When Charmaine started to do jerry curl, her hair grew so beautifully and fluffy, and it was so nice and rich looking. I don't know, I've never seen anybody's jerry curl look like hers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks so good. And I know her at school short hair.
Mm-hmm.
And when I saw her, when she started working and starting jerry curling her hair, I know jerry curl grew her hair. So I don't know what is about jerry curl. Is
I
there
don't.
something about jerry
I
curl? Right?
have a hairstyle and mine will have never get any longer than maybe past here. And I never tried growing back my hair again. But if your hair will grow anyway in 6 weeks,
Mhm.
half an inch to an inch, and if you take care of that hair really and truly, take care of the scalp properly,
Right.
anyone here can grow. Now I have a hair challenge going on with some of my clients who they want their hair down to their
The
brows.
back.
I remember my chemist when I wanted to do my product line years ago. She said to me, "Oh, my hair can grow." I did her hair 1 year free, every single process, every single treatment to show her that anyone here can grow because your hair on your head is not coated.
Right.
Okay, so your hair can grow is only because now when you because she's a chemist, she said if you look at the hair in a scientific way and you understand the structure and the function of the hair, 'cause that's another thing that we teach our client how to take care of the hair when you get home. Because I only see you twice a month. You have the hair the other 28 days. Okay, so now we teach you and we send you home with product and teach you how to use those products
Right.
because you can show. Because remember, let me say this: no one here were designed to relax, color, or put any form of chemical on it. No, if you're white, you're black, you're Chinese, it don't matter what it is. The hair weren't designed to break down like that. And that is where scientists have spent years with strands of different color, race, and everything trying to perfect the
The
science
process.
and the process. And that's one of the reasons why when you go and you sit in the
Sorry.
you have to make sure that your stylist they're certified, their salon is certified, and that they are
Knowledgeable.
knowledgeable about the product that they're using because relaxer are not something that you take light when people put caustic soda on your scalp because that is what a sodium hydroxide relaxer is. And that is one of the reasons why we're seeing in the clinic a lot of cicatricious alopecia that turn into scarring alopecia. And some of them don't have no hairline anymore. And then they have like keloid on the skin.
Hmm.
And their hair don't grow back anymore.
Yeah,
Because,
because even even with folliculitis, Barbie,
ooh,
that and I have keloid skin.
yes,
Once you have keloid skin, it gets out of hand, and
yes.
it look like and like 3 levels of skin that's on top of your head back, which I've seen at
Yes.
my shop. And those people don't use chemicals, but because you have the bacteria and the fungus and everything growing and your skin
Inflammation
don't
around
heal
the hair
properly.
follicle.
Yes, the hair follicle get damaged.
Yes. So
Well,
we
let us welcome. Hi, Kamala. Welcome, Carl Richmond. Carl says, "I'm loving the program." He's a fellow psychologist. Thank you both for being so candid. Well, you know me, and you know me. I'm into giving the information. He says, "I love how Miss Lawla breaks it down." Yes, well, that is the aim of this exercise to let people, although we want beautiful, natural, or straightened hair, because I like both.
Yes.
I'm not a fan of locks only because I don't like anything too permanent.
Me that.
Because that's the only reason why. But I like how it looks, and I'll put it in the 4 locks and rock it.
I see
So
you.
yeah, so I'm glad for that. But the thing is, we need to understand that whatever we're doing with our hair, it comes with responsibility. I tell my clients that every day, even from the little ones. I tell the little ones, if you want high hair, it comes with responsibility. You have to wash your hair frequently. Yeah, if you don't keep the scalp clean, we're going to cut it off.
Yes.
And me and daddy and mommy, we are on the same page. So if you want high hair and mohawk and all of those things, you have to ensure that when you go to the bathroom, you wash your hair properly, spend some time if you want to keep high hair. So it is a process. It is, you have to follow up with your hair. And when you go, how does one, or who does one go to analyze their hair to say, okay, I have dry hair, I have oily hair, so I will know what shampoo to purchase. Do I go to a dermatologist? Do I go to the hairdresser? Is the hairdresser competent enough? Or do I go to a trichologist to get a full breakdown of what it is that I need? Who do I go to get that full rundown of what I need for my hair to get the best results?
So you need to know when you go and see your dermatologist or your trichologist. Okay. A lot of times your stylist, most of my referral that I get from my stylist. Okay. Or some of my medical doctors will send persons to me. There's things that trichologists see in the clinic, and then we will know it is no longer in our boundary. Now you are going to see your dermatologist. Okay.
And so who would do the recommendation of, okay, you need to do this treatment, that treatment, you need to use this type of shampoo, your hair type is fine, or 2 different types of texture, so you need this type of shampoo, you need this type of conditioner. Can a regular hairdresser with some knowledge do that capably, or do I need to see a psychologist? I mean, a trichologist. To know exactly what shampoo is best for me.
Okay, so your professional stylist should be able to analyze your hair, because that's one of the first thing you do is consult with the client hair. Okay, so after consulting, looking at the hair to see what am I doing, especially if the customer is a first-time client,
Right.
you will want to know the density of the hair, the different texture, because most of us, because we are out of many one people, we have
we mix up.
We have 3 different texture here. So sometimes the shampoo that I use on me cannot be used on you. Okay, or the same shampoo can be used, but not the same conditioner. Because if I use a hair conditioner on certain clients I have, I cannot use the whole entire line of that. Sometimes I have to use a Red Ken All Soft conditioner, because now the hair gonna have either too much moisture and it weigh the hair down. So the hair when it comes out, or that person will say to you, okay, then Sandy, I noticed that you have some dry areas, and sometimes it's more than one disorder. Not even just the hair alone, but the scalp is important. Because it's really the scalp you want to clean first, and then you clean the hair. So you want to make sure that you are consulting with the scalp, then to the hair, and then. So any good professional stylist who remember the book know how to do a proper consultation, Now, when it comes on to the different types of disorder now, that is where your trichologist comes in. And then she will say, okay, I'm going to send it to the trichology so they can analyze and tell me what is going on with the hair. Because sometimes you say, oh, I'm itching and I'm flaking and have an odor. Now that is where your trichologist comes in. So now we will do a proper consultation. We will look at your medical history. We will look at everything that there is to figure out what form of eczema, because eczema is the word, and it doesn't mean that you have to have one form of eczema on the scalp. You can have several different types of eczema on the one scalp. So now we know exactly how are we going to take care of that. So once we recognize that this is a disorder, with hair breakage or hair loss, now it's a combination of a different world. That is underneath an umbrella of a trichology. No dermatologist cannot treat what a hair disorder like that or a treatment. Because sometimes you will have hair loss with hair breakage, chemical damage, self-inflicted hair loss. So when you find that now this is where the trichology really have their work cut out. Sometimes different types of hair loss, aging scalp, and it's any form of hair loss like that. Then sometimes samples of the hair have to be taken. We do a mineral analysis test on it to see what are we dealing with. And sometimes there's illness showing up in the hair in different areas.
Okay. Anne-Marie is saying, please tell us, how do you take care of the scalp at home? What oils do we apply? The fad fermented, what is this? Rice water. Only this week. I did see that this week. Rice water. What is scalp care and hydrating? What can we use for scalp care and to hydrate the hair?
Okay, so hydration of the scalp, Anne-Marie, should come from manipulating of the scalp so your natural sebum can protect you from
just a massage.
A nice massage can start, but you have product on the market that you can use on your scalp that will go down to the end of the hair. So you can find things like Dudley's True Indulgent. You can find things in Caracare line, and you will use those. But the rice water thing, darling, there, I don't know anything about that. I've never tried it.
I was,
I have seen it on YouTube, but I'm going to put my hand up. I've seen all of that, and then what happened for me when I see people use rice water, it ages the hair, it becomes keratinization, and then you move into different types of level of shedding, especially if you have the hair breakdown in color and all of that.
Yes, I saw it just this week. I was like, rice water.
Right.
Anyway,
I don't get it.
So I will stick to what I know. Yes, I stick to what I know. I said, what about like things like the natural, like aloe vera and those things? You can pick it at the back of your garden and just blend it up and put it on the hair? Or it's when through the process?
Just like when you have oils, like essential oils, you have to now find out when you pick the aloe vera, how do we break it down?
Right.
So we need to figure out how, because it can be break down and used. But is it a carrier, or you need to chase it with something else? I have never used aloe vera by itself on the hair, because now I will have to find out how to break it down. But the molecules in it become smaller and figure out the pH balance, because when it comes to your hair, it's all about pH balance on the hair and the scalp. Because anything that cannot penetrate will just lay on the hair like this.
Like how is that on a limb?
Yes. Yes. And all of them that is out there that everybody is using, Nothing is wrong with your oil, but you have to know what benefits are you getting. Does the hair really need that?
When I use products, I normally just look at how my hair responds to certain things. If I go to a hairdresser, and that's why I don't really change hairdresser. If I go to the hairdresser and them use bulk shampoo, meaning them cheap shampoo, you know right away it barky. It's so barky and dry and trashy. Yes, you don't have to ask his bulk shampoo. You know, so I don't guess with those things. I don't go any and anywhere. I'm very particular with where I go and who I use. And so everybody should have that as well. Let us talk about locks, sister locks. Is that a good system for the hair? Does it break the hair? So I know sister locks, you have to retighten every so often, ever so often. Does sister locks or can sister locks damage the hair?
It depends on your groomer now, because I do locks, and I do locks from start. I groom locks, but if you pull on that very same strand over a period of time, and because if you know some of the locks are very tight,
Yes,
moving the hair out of the root each time you pull that hair, it becomes traction.
Mm-hmm.
It becomes traction, or we call it trichotillomania. It's just like you just sit there and just pick on your hair every day.
Right.
If you keep pulling on the hair like that, you're gonna
lose it.
Kind of start losing hair. But it's if you follow the proper procedure, you won't have any problem. But it can be damaging, and people have lost hair.
Let's talk glue.
Yes.
All these lace wigs.
Oh, girl.
And they glue down the front, and all of that. Let's talk glue.
Let's talk glue. I see where one of my colleagues have done the glue thing on TVJ. But most of the glue are made from latex. So what will happen when the glue become hard on the hair? It's around the baby part of the hair, where you would call it the little vellus hair, the baby hair.
Mm-hmm.
And that hair is just so gentle that most of the time when we apply a relaxer, that's the last place we relax.
Right.
And one of the first place we rinse off. Okay? So the glue now, because it's made from latex, it just eat away the hair every time you put it onto it. Some person change the hair too far on their forehead, and it's not a good thing. Now they're coming with different method of clip-on thing that will also help with the hairline. But it's one of the most fragile part of your head.
I've seen people lost almost the whole head of their hair.
It's fancy.
The whole head of hair.
It's lace front. You don't hear what it means? Lace front. You don't need no hair there to hold it. You have your lace front. So glue.
But you don't wear it all the time.
No, some people live in it. Some people live in it. Some people.
Let's speak about that. How if you're a wig wearer, should you give wigs a break every now and again? What's the longest you should possibly wear a wig?
If you're gonna wear a lace front wig, I personally would recommend it for a week. If you have an occasion, wait for the occasion and take it off. If you're gonna wear a wig without the glue and all of that, I believe personally that you should take off your wig every night you go to bed.
If you're wearing a wig, do you put it directly on your hair, or you need to put on a cap first and then you put on to protect your hair and braid your hair as well?
And braid your hair. So you treat your hair just like how you treat it when you don't have on a wig. You should let your scalp breathe. And especially if you're ill or you're going through treatments, you should put on a protective thing on your scalp before you put on the wig. I was brave enough to not to wear the wig.
Right, neither did I.
You know,
I bought the wig and everything, and
I did bought a wig, girl.
It was a bit itchy because we didn't have any hair, so I just dispensed with it. I didn't wear it.
Here now. My head is so tiny. My colleague who made it probably online, hers blow off in half a tree.
Because there's nothing to anchor it.
There's
nothing to anchor it with.
And the seller said to her, lady, pick up your hair and your money back. Or come along. You know?
Yes. But it's not bad things make laugh. You know what I mean?
It has this place where you have some persons out there that really do custom made wig and you don't have to use the glue. Really nice custom made wig. And when you talk about children who have alopecia, I mean, I remember as a child growing up and I was 13, 14, and that's when the first time I come in contact with a child with alopecia. And we were also scornful because we think it's something that we're going to catch. So children are out there who are really going through serious issues with hair loss, and we don't.
Because they do the braids too tight.
Not even the braids. They are born with that disorder.
Oh, you can be born with it.
You can be born with it. Because the first time when I learned about children, because that's where I did my study, alopecia areata in children. Mm-hmm. And my case study was in an 18-month-old child, which, yes, the first time, but she had compromised immune system problem. Because alopecia areata is considered to be an autoimmune, the trigger of an autoimmune disease. So her hair grew back and then it occurred again. So because she was so young, I couldn't use any form of steroid or cortisone on her scalp or anything like that. I have to do my own case study, watch her hair grow over a 10-month period. And I still watch her today. She's maybe... Right. Yeah, she's about 10 years old now, and I still here because I want to put that data out there.
I didn't know that. Yes, I didn't know that.
But children.
Speaking of autoimmune, diseases, you touched on lupus. How does someone with lupus care for their hair?
Okay, so I have patient that comes in who have lupus, and whenever they're having a crisis, you have to let them go to the crisis because either the hair fall out in patches of alopecia areata or it comes out in a bigger patches, like it would form like a island on the head then. Mm-hmm. And because now the scalp becomes so sensitive and discoloration of the scalp, now it grew back either in white hair, curly hair, or it's very straight. I don't know if you remember when our hair were growing back, it was straight. Mm-hmm. It was straight. And
for the beginning, yeah.
Okay, so that's baby hair.
Right.
You can't put anything on that. So let it grow back on its own. And when it reaches the stage of maturity now, then you start treating it, giving it back all of its element that it needs now to grow, and stimulation and hydration. Okay, so you will now treat it as you're dealing with hormonal or immune system problem. So that's a different form of treatment and mixture.
All right, should someone who has lupus cream their hair or process their hair?
It doesn't matter. Once the hair become an mature hair, can do anything with it.
Anything with it.
Anything with it.
We're not going through that period of crisis.
Right. Just like how I was saying, I do not, and you should not relax a child hair before she have her first period.
Okay. You hear that, people? So all those people who don't want to comb the hair before
they reach them first.
Before they reach that stage, my mother always said that. My mother used to say, when you start trying your own key, you can't cream your own hair. And that
was face.
She allowed me to press it
yes.
for graduation. That was it. Yes. And by the time I step out of the salon, my hair big so. Because as the moisture catch it,
Yes.
it just went a big hair. So I had big hair for graduation. You know? All right, so that is another thing. All right, what I want to ask you about as well is we touched on, all right, so we spoke about autoimmune. We can speak about recovering from doing chemotherapy.
Ooh.
Well, what I can tell you what I did.
Yes.
What I did, and it worked for me, because what some people try to do, and I always advise against it, and this is the reason why. Once you take certain chemotherapy drugs, because not all chemotherapy drugs make you lose your hair.
No,
There
not
are
at all.
particular types that make you lose a hair. The one I took, my hair came out like a baby bottom.
Yes.
I suggest to everybody who I speak to, once it starts falling, just take it off. And the reason for that is, if you watch it dropping out, that is even more depressing than just taking it off one go. Because every morning you get up, there's going to be clumps and loads of hair on the pillow. What I did every morning, because the truth is, even during chemo, the hair kept growing, but it grew back fine. And when it goes back fine, you look sick, because it's like a scraggly thing on your hair.
Yes.
Everybody know that you're sick. So what I used to do, every morning I get up, I shave my head, I oil it, I massage it. At one stage when I had just gone bald, I even put on what do you call it now, like a tint on it, because it was so white in comparison to my face, until the sun kind of made it balance back with my face. And then once chemo was finished now, what I did, I kept on cutting it until all the hairs filled in.
Yes.
Because it goes back thin.
Very thin, straight.
So you just allow it to grow back in, all of it, and then you have a full head of hair. And then from that point now, you just even it out and you just grow it back fully, which is what I did. I don't know if that's your suggestion, if that's the right way. I can only tell you what I did, but is that the right way to do it?
Well, for me, Sandy, when I started chemo, I had myself in a case study. I start doing the ice pack, the ice cold pack, because I'm also Board Certified. So I just learned about cold pack, and I was doing the cold pack. And
what is the cold pack? Tell us a little bit about the cold pack.
It's like a cap, frozen cap that you put onto the head. And you have to can bear something really, really, really cold on your head. So I was trying to save the follicle of the hair, but without not losing the hair. But after the first 30 days, I said, this is crazy. I'm not doing this. I know I'm so sick. I'm just trying to
survive. Just trying to survive.
Cold pack. And I had a party, a shave head party, where friends will shave their head with me. And I was that fortunate and blessed to have that people who were growing them hair for how long decide to shave their head. Thanks to Wayne Maxwell, also from JMAC.
Yes, big up Wayne.
Love him. Shave his head with me, the support. I really appreciate that. And so my scalp becomes so dehydrated. The skin becomes so thin. So before the skin becomes so thin and you see the hair start to follow, go ahead and shave it off.
Yes.
That's my suggestion, because sometimes you cannot deal with the shear so close to the head, because now it is so
tender.
It's like you can't touch it. I couldn't lay on the pillow. Until I figure out satin wraps. That is the only that's and by the time you lay down, it slide off. So then the chemist came back in again, Sandy, and she started doing my line of product on my head, because it was so tender. We need something to soothe the scalp. But the first time she tried it, it was so bad. I said to her, You have to rinse this off. You have to rinse this off. And this is when I went back into the lab again and adjusted and give me a first class hair loss product.
Okay. So tell us a bit about your products.
It's that gentle. So we have hair loss that block the DHT in the top of the head for hair loss. So that product become better because now I am the guinea pig of that.
You are the guinea pig, right? So you could tell her each step of the way.
From medications aspect of that product. So we used that, we adjusted it. So the line been on the market for several years.
Right.
I'm a survivor of 8 years of breast cancer, and it was there before. But it is now new and improved from 8 years ago. So it helps to block the DHT that causes hair loss from top of the head. And it's one of the main ingredients. Some people might say biotin is all worn out and done talking about, but there's no way that's something that helps to prevent hair loss. It can be worn out and done. Because if that is what the hair takes to stay in the growing cycle, because the hair has 3 different cycles. It have the growing cycle, it have the resting cycle, and the shedding cycle. And when the hair is in problem, it go on rest. It will never grow. So you have to figure out how to get the hair kickstart back into the growing cycle. And one of the best things to do is to find something with biotin. We don't eat enough food, enough nuts or wherever we find biotin. So if you can take that supplement with your vitamin C and E, I'm going to encourage it.
Right.
If you don't have breakouts from it, because that same biotin, you will find it in almond and all those other nuts. But some person are allergic to nuts.
Right.
So if you can find, and that product, one of the main ingredients in it is biotin.
So what else do you have in your line of products? Or what's the name of your line of products? Where can you get your line of products and all of that?
You can find it on my website. You can find it on IG at the Salon J.
What is your website?
It's www.thesalonja.com, and we also do a hair blog. So it's Hair Blog 2020. So
and you're on
Instagram, all the major
Instagram handle,
the same name, thesalonja.com.
Okay.
If you hashtag my name, it comes up with everything.
Okay.
Okay,
hear that, people? So you don't have to worry about it. You have an expert here, and if it's something that she can't handle, or it's something that she works along with dermatologists, and so they will get the situation handled.
And if you can't find us, we have a professional body that governs all the trichologists in Jamaica. You have a few of us here, and I'm telling you, they are awesome group of people, trichologists here. And I encourage you, when you have any your issues, look them up, because they're there to help. Just like when you have cancer, you find an oncologist,
right?
Or the specialist for hair, because we really put the effort in studying the science of hair, how it's function, when it's not functioning, how hair loss, because we have to now differentiate hair loss from hair breakage.
Right.
So they're out there. And let me tell you something, I can't do everyone else, and my colleagues are, I'm telling you, awesome. I'm proud to stand amongst them.
We spoke about various diseases, various issues, various medication, but we have not touched, and I wanted to touch on it before we close off, pregnancy. Because I know some persons tend to lose their hair during pregnancy.
Oh, so in pregnancy,
after they have baby. One of the two.
In pregnancy, you don't lose your hair, because your male hormone becomes dominant in your body. So we have extra hair growing all over us. And remember now, the supplements help to boost and keep the hair growing. So when you have the baby now, what will happen? You will have premature shedding of the hair. So now your hormone is now regulating back. So the extra hair that you have grown is now shedding. But
Oh, so it's not your normal
right,
growth that you're losing. You
exactly.
developed additional hair during the period. So
During the period,
when you
now,
after you have baby now, you start shedding.
so sometimes we can bring it down to call it diffuse alopecia. It
Mm-hmm.
happens after pregnancy. It can happen with birth control pill. So what I always try to recommend is that you stay on your premental medication that you were taking during pregnancy, because the body is
Okay.
not acting the same way. So it's hormone that you're dealing with. So if you take that supplement still, it can help to regulate it out your cycle of your hair cycle, so you don't, because now the hair is now resting, so you see all those extra shedding going on.
Mm-hmm.
Stay on the extra vitamins and mineral that you take in during pregnancy. It will help to regulate. You see, you don't say, oh my God, I wake up and say, I have a massive hair loss.
Mm-hmm.
So that now will
Well, that is news to me because I didn't realize that because you had extra growth while you were shedding. Because I know a lot of people said they're losing their hair because they just have baby and the hair thinning out. So I was just wondering,
extra.
what? Oh, it's okay. All right, I get you.
Is in the resting cycle.
Okay. Is
So
there anything else that you want to address in terms of hair care, scalp care, skin care, in terms of hair and scalp before we close
yes.
out?
So it's not all flaking on your scalp is dandruff or seborrheic dermatitis. Sometimes it's the incorrect use of product that causes a buildup. And we hear a lot of persons say, oh, I just use a conditioner and just shampoo my hair and just rinse my hair. That conditioner now sometimes become dry and flake off on the scalp, because now shampoo have their purpose, their reason why they clean and remove debris and dirt from the hair and the scalp. So if you're not using a clarifying shampoo at least every 6 weeks to help get off some of those extra buildup. So now a clarifying shampoo is now higher on the pH balance. So it will now raises the cuticle, remove extra things from the hair, but now you will now go back in with 100% conditioner with moisture to help lock back some moisture into the hair. Because clarifying shampoo are a good thing to use, because sometimes if you keep putting something, for instance, if you have a tile and you keep putting polish on the tile, what happens
Doing
after
the build up
you have a
of the polish.
so you have to do the same thing with the hair, because the hair absorbs everything outside. The hair is a sponge. So look at your shampoo and always have a professional line of shampoo at home.
Should you
Because
should you have like a intermittent stripping? Like
yes,
should
I
you
would
strip
say
your hair every and
I
what is
would,
that
I would
what is that good with what is good to strip your hair with? I know some people said they use apple cider vinegar, some of them said they use all different types of things to strip the hair. What is the main thing to use to strip the hair?
I stay with a professional line of product. I don't use no apple cider vinegar to strip no hair or to rinse out relaxer, which I heard that on some broadcasting the other day. You cannot put apple cider vinegar after you have exposed and raises your pH on your scalp and all of that. For me, I will use a Redken Pre-Art. That's a professional, and you only allow your stylist to do a cleansing of your hair.
That is not something you should take on for yourself.
No, it's not something that you should do. When you do a deep cleanse like that, it should be done by your professional stylist. You can do a light for people who use gel a lot on their hair. I can recommend a First Lather shampoo from the Carrick Hair line. That is safe to use at home. But if you're going to continue to use a lot of gels on your hair and them call it a pudding or all of those things,
Mhm.
you need to have a first lather to take off the excess product off your hair, to start all over again, to give it that nice curl and lush that you need. because you're gonna keep putting back the same thing over and over in the hair. And sometimes it flakes onto the scalp and it feels like eczema, which is not eczema most of the time. And then it breaks you out because all of us have some form of acne and it just wants to really flare up that acne. So the scalp is the same thing. All of us will have eczema problem, but it's what really pushes that eczema on the scalp. So a first shampoo I would recommend for that.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about transitioning. Transitioning from creaming to natural, or from natural to pressing, or from pressing to creaming. Let's talk a little bit about transitioning. How does one transition safely?
Okay, for me, cut off the hair.
Completely.
Cut off the hair, because at the end of the day, as long as you have enough new growth, like maybe 2-3 months of new growth, just cut off the hair. You will, for those who said, oh, I don't want a braid, I don't wear braids, and I don't like braids, cut off the hair and start fresh. Because as long as you take care of the scalp, it will grow.
Right.
A new way of
start over.
Start over, man. It grow back. You're alive. And even when you're dead, your hair still a grow.
Still a grow, right.
Still a grow. So I would suggest that you start fresh. Or if you don't want to go that way, you can do curly sets, a really nice curly set. Okay, until you just take your time and gradually just cut it off to where you want.
Cut off the ends. This is what most people do.
And I'm going to say this before I go, Sandy. A lot of person out there are silk pressing the hair, and then months after they want to
cream,
do a relaxer. It's not a safe thing to do. No,
the silk press is temporary.
It's not temporary.
Oh, it's not
temporary, but you remember now you force that bond in the hair to stretch. But if you
don't you not going to the pool all that gone?
Yeah, but you're already
it's already done.
Yes. So now you now have to now prepare back that hair, and it's a safe way because now you have stuff now that you can safely transition from a silk press over into relaxer.
Get you.
Bond repair.
Get you.
A disulfide bond repair that is mixed into the relaxer. Because remember now, you're doing a virgin relaxer and you're stretching that bond. And I will recommend that the first virgin relaxer is not 100% straight. Because remember now, you were stretching the bonds in the hair before with the iron.
Right.
So don't take the relaxer and now bring it to 90%. Bring it to 70.
Get you.
Okay? So you don't bone straight hair, so you leave some elasticity in the hair.
And one last thing, because I'm almost sure you had said something to was it you? With regards to balding or alopecia.
Which one of the alopecia?
Do all the alopecia situations go back?
No.
And how is there at any point that you can save the hair if you catch it early? Can you save the follicles if you catch it early rather than waiting an extended period and then there's no hope for recovery?
So alopecia area.
Is it time bound?
Huh?
Is it time bound?
Okay.
I almost had heard something of the sort, like if you catch it within the first, like I said, 3 months, it can stimulate the growth and it may come up back. But if you wait long and the follicles die, then die completely, then that's it. Is there any truth to that?
Well, all right. So alopecia areata sometimes, without interference with treatment, will grow back by itself. Okay? And if it reoccur again, then is when most of the time a trichologist will interfere and start treating the hair. Okay? So androgenic alopecia now is something that it is treatable, but to slow down the process of you losing your hair. Because each time that hair grow back, it becomes finer and finer.
And fine.
Right. So we only can slow down the process of that particular alopecia, but there's no cure for it.
And so, like traction alopecia, that's you get from the micro braiding and the invisible braiding and the what you call it, paste on
the lace front.
The lace front wigs and those things. So can your hair go back?
Yes, your hair will grow back a lot of the times, but sometimes it becomes scarring from the constant pulling and the constant gluing. No, the hair follicle just say, I'm not back again. So sometimes it moves into permanent hair loss.
Get you.
Okay, but it can grow back by itself or interference with treatment. So sometimes you will use a ultraviolet ray treatment to treat the areas to help stimulate growth back quicker. Or sometimes I will recommend the hair follicle renew that we sell in our line that helps to stimulate growth. But you have like alopecia totalis where you lose the entire hair or the universal hair on your head. Those are not treatable. So little boys or women go around with no hair. Remember that Miss Universe or Miss World from the US who have alopecia universal, which you have no hair at all, and that is stemmed from an autoimmune disorder.
Okay. With regards to the male pattern baldness, that is hereditary usually.
Yes.
Does that can you not have it? Or once it's heredity, it's heredity. Okay. That's
it's genetic. That's it for some of them. But sometimes it's not genetic enough. Sometimes that's what you it's stemmed from, if you notice some men will have very thin hair in the hair, but they don't lose all the hair and they're in their 60s and stuff like that. Sometimes if they're hypertensive or diabetic, then the medication
depends on the medication you're on
in the top of the head, and that is what the DHT blocker will do. Some persons will counteract it. I already said to the doctors who are into their hair. But I will recommend when you find men or male would have male pattern baldness in their 60s and stuff like that. Sometimes your scalp regime is very important at that particular time. Okay? Because sometimes when some male goes into the shower, anything that's they find in the shower they used to wash. And that's
bath soap.
No.
And I keep on telling them that bath soap is not shampoo.
Treat your hair just the way how you treat your face.
Right.
Okay. If you come and you soothe up the face, you need to soothe up the scalp too. So you have you recommend that they also use a professional line of shampoo.
And please just speak to them a little bit about things that are that need medical treatment, that the barbers and the hairdressers are not trained in that area. The products, over-the-counter products don't work. They have to get something medicated to handle it.
Yes. So if you use antifungal shampoo, because you see a lot of clients, some of your clients come and buy a product from me. So if it's a medical condition, I don't touch it.
Send them to the dermatologist.
If it needs prescription, because we are certified by the drugless practitioners, we are not touching it. We are not privy to write prescription, anything like that. Then is where we're going to send you to the dermatologist or your regular GP for them to do their follow-up or a biopsy or anything like that. But once it has to do with medication related, no, that is where we need to know hands off.
Right.
Our field. We are not practicing doctors right here. Okay.
Absolutely.
But if you have gotten your medicated shampoo from your dermatologist, which I'm asking that they always say use on your scalp and not your hair. Because when you give your patient the medicated shampoo, they are shampooing their hair with it. You did not go to the dermatologist for your hair, you go there for your scalp.
Right.
So it must be directly applied to the scalp. and before wetting the hair too. So that is my thing that I want to say. Nothing is wrong with you taking your prescription shampoo to the trichologist or to your stylist, but apply it directly to the scalp and not the hair.
Awesome job. Thank you so much, Raquel. Althea Lawla, Althea, aka Raquel.
That's me.
Thank you so much. This has been a whole heap to take in. As I said, I have to find a way to manage my hair and the coloring, because I will be coloring until I am no longer coloring. Until I get to that stage, whatever that stage is.
I don't know, girl. I don't know what is that.
But I'm just ready to embrace the salt and pepper. I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. No. So I'll continue to do the rinsing until that time. So I want to say thank you. Yes, I'm going to rinse until that time. Because as I like to tell my customers, because sometimes men are afraid to color their hair. I say, well, it never makes for dog, it makes for human beings.
Awesome.
But another thing, before I go, persons are afraid sometimes to use like creams, texturizers, different products in their hair, even coloring, because you hear that, things can go into your bloodstream.
Well, I always said when you apply your color to your hair, you're not applying the color to your scalp. And now you have demi-color and you have permanent color.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a demi-color, your permanent color does not need to go underneath a dryer. You just need to just sit out and you stay away. Just like when you relax, you stay away from the scalp. Because why they say it seep in? Because it goes onto the scalp and it elevates the pH and it open up the pores and it will get down into the skin. But if you apply it to the hair shaft, to the end of the hair, and you stay away from the skin, and that is one of the reasons you follow manufacturer instruction. And there's always a barrier cream inside the box.
Mm-hmm.
Apply the barrier cream around the edges of your hair, onto the hairline, wherever you need a barrier cream. It is safe.
Althea, you have any idea how the gray hair them stubborn?
I know, girl.
Stubborn bad,
You know why?
Them stubborn bad.
Gray hair loses its color molecule, and that is why it becomes transparent. It's great.
And steely. Even the texture of the hair changes. It gets a little steely.
Now it have nothing to moisturize it. It has become it lose all its moisture content. It loses its color molecule in it. So what you do now, that is where demi-color come in and permanent color, because it softens the cuticle of the hair and forces the color into the gray. And another thing, if you notice how your red faded so quick.
Oh yes, so these are the movements.
Yes, the molecule in reds are really big, so you lose it very quickly.
Okay, get you.
Yes.
So I know. Okay, so I thought it was because I just wash it often.
No, and that's one of the reasons why shampoos now are coming with reds, shampoo for red hair.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, just like how you will have some blue shampoo that when you have platinum or almost blonde, it give you that silvery look or yes. You have shampoo now for redhead.
Oh, I need to look at it when I next go to the beauty supply store.
Yes.
Red can. Who knows? I might be blonde by next month. Who knows?
Yes. Who knows, girl? Who knows?
So Anne-Marie says, Boss lady, thank you so much for this show, Miss Althea. Never heard of a trichologist before. Can you see that? Can you believe
Oh, girl,
that?
you're 100 years
For,
old.
and tonight's show gave me great understanding, sharing a wealth of knowledge at the hair roots level. Thank you.
Oh, thanks.
Yes, so this is just for you, Anne Marie. The rest of persons will benefit, but I did this especially for you. You see, you're special. Thanks again. Thanks again, Raquel. Stay online until I come back to you.
Yes.
So good night, everyone. Next week will be our very last show for the season. We're only taking a month's break. Taking a month off for August to just get myself some rest and relaxation. And so I'll be back in September. So send to me, inbox me, tell me some topics that you'd really like me to talk about so I can start doing my research from now, finding the speakers for those different topics, because you know I have to find the experts as always. And you know, funnily enough, they don't tend to tell me no. I may have gotten one or two no's, but that by the time I smile 2 times and sweet them up, they've always say, okay, Sandra, you know. So I really try my best to bring you the best, you know, because I also learn from these shows as well, because it's really a lot of in-depth information when you speak to the experts and persons who are on the ground, literally doing it every day. I don't work with book knowledge. Book knowledge is not what I go for. I go for a working knowledge of the problem. On Boss Lady Live, we're here to solve problems, help persons with their problems, help persons direct the path of where they can go to have their problems solved or to have their questions answered. You know, 2021 is between 2020 and 2021, coming from 2019. Well, when did we start COVID? A lot of online programs have started. Everybody has their own agenda. My agenda is to offer excellent information that can help you to be the best you possible. So as I said, inbox me, let me know what you'd like to hear about. Althea, where can we find you? You didn't tell us where we can find you, you know. Is there a number we can find you?
So you can find me, you can contact me at www.thesalonja.com or Instagram at thesalonja, and our location number is 876-289-8087. So we're like a good Birkin bag. You have to call to find out where our location is.
They're excellent. So thanks again.
And thanks for having me again, Sandy.
You are welcome. See, the last time was not on this topic. There's so many things we could actually talk about. Last time we were talking about our sisterhood, thriving.
I'm thriving, girl.
Right, exactly. So this time it is on hair care and scalp care. So I thank you so much because I know you're very busy. Thank you for sharing your time with us and your expertise with us. And you know, give us some feedback. For those of you who did not give us your comments, you can drop a line on our site or on YouTube. See you next week, same place, same time at 8 p.m. sharp Jamaica time. And as I said, youth, you can to watch all the other programs. You can go to www.youtube.com/The Totally Male, as I am the CEO of Totally Male. So see you then. It is Sandra Samuel signing out. For those of you who don't know me, bye now. I am the boss lady. So see you next week. Join me next week. And please give me some feedback, man. Let me know what you're thinking of the program, what you have learned. If if we have helped in any way, shape, or form, just let us know if what we're doing, is working for you, or what we need to change, because I'm all about improving as well. So as we close out the season next week, hopefully we have another very interesting topic. So have a blessed week. Keep safe. Follow the COVID-19 protocol, and just stay safe. Although we open up back, it's not a free get out of jail free card. We still have to follow the COVID-19 protocol. Have a blessed week. Love you. Stay safe. Good evening.